Hello guys. Today I want to talk about how to love an INFJ. And if you love an INFJ or are wanting to love an INFJ, I have 7 topics about how to love an INFJ. And if you are an INFJ and you are in a relationship and you want to share this video with them so they can better love you, these are just, things that I have thought about and put together in my own list. I have been with my husband for 20 years in a love relationship, and these are probably things that I have noticed that where he could love me better or he has loved me well. So we'll start. Number one is respect our boundaries. We do have a lot of we do have boundaries, and we do have things that we are uncomfortable with or things that we are non-negotiable. And if you don't respect those boundaries and continue to try to push and break them and manipulate us and try to make us feel bad about what we've decided are things that we don't want crossed, then those boundaries end up becoming walls. And I always think of boundaries like a fence, but it's a fence that you can see through and it has a gate, and that gate is closed. And as you gain trust and are respectful of the things that we need and want and the things that are violating to us, then you respect those things, then that gate can be opened and you can come in a little bit more. But if you continue to violate those boundaries, or if you're a person that say rules are made to be broken and you're just, add it to try to break those boundaries, then that fence becomes an impenetrable wall. And then we put up these walls around ourselves because we don't trust you. And I know I have done this. I have put up walls around myself against people. And it's not a happy thing for us to do, for me to do. But we are ruled, or I am anyway, ruled by guilt. So it doesn't always feel nice to put up boundaries for me. I don't always want to put up a wall to somebody, but because you feel guilty about making other people feel uncomfortable, and my natural inclination is to do what people want and to please people. So don't go at somebody that has good, strong boundaries with something that would make them feel guilty, because that's just being manipulative, and you're not going to really truly love them by violating their boundaries. Number two, tell us how much you appreciate the things we do. Most INFJs, I know myself, we do a lot for people. We have a very compassionate, giving heart, and it's very easy for me to do a lot of things, but I do need to know that I'm appreciated. I kind of walk around my life, have walked around my life feeling unappreciated a lot of the time. Like, all of the things that I did were not valued. I wasn't valued. And I do walk around with just this kind of feeling of worthlessness. And I hate to admit that, but I always feel as if what I'm doing is not enough. How I'm loving is not enough. So we need to hear, as much as I don't want to admit it, I need to hear from the people that love me, from my husband, how much they appreciate what I'm doing, how much they appreciate the way that I love my family, the way that I do physical things for them, like, cook food and do dishes and keep the house clean. And we need to feel appreciated. We need to hear that we're appreciated. We need kind of that pat on the back that we're doing a good job, and we need to also be shown appreciation. And sometimes being shown appreciation can look like helping with something. And number 3, don't bring up or remind us of things that bring us shame or embarrassment. And my life, I am starting to cast off shame, because I know it's not from God, but my life has kind of been ruled by shame. And if you continue to bring up things that bring us shame, that bring me shame, or that embarrass me, specifically in front of other people, that is not love. And it puts up walls. It puts up like walls against trust, where I can't trust you because you are continually bringing up things that embarrass me or that make me feel shame. And I think sometimes there's an opinion, or I can't think of the right word, but there's an opinion that if you just keep talking about it, it's going to be less shameful. And I don't think that you should, shove down the things that shame you, but to continue to bring them up even in like a joking manner or a playful manner. If it causes shame to the person that you love, it should not be continued to be brought up. So you kind of have to just let those things go and let us deal with them as we do. And when we're ready to talk about it, we will. But continuing to bring up an incident or a behavior that brings shame upon your INFJ is not helpful. Number 4, listen to our ramblings without casting judgment. Now, we have this like continual loop of thoughts, and we do tend to get obsessed over things and really want to research things, and we'll get in like a season of really looking at this one thing and finding out everything we can know about it. And sometimes we want to, especially with our loved ones, and especially with my husband, and he's really good at this, we just want somebody to listen. And that's why these videos have been so helpful for me, because I'm talking to a camera, but people are listening. And I, a lot of times, just need to sit down with my husband and just let all that out. Just tell him all the things that I'm thinking about this one topic that I'm obsessed with, or this one ideology, or this one thing that just keeps rotating in my mind. And what you need to be is just a listener in those times. You're not looking to fix the problem that your loved one, or that your INFJ, I'm talking about them as if they were plants, like how to care for your INFJ, like it's a house plant. Just listen to the rambling. It can be very educational. It can be entertaining at times, because sometimes the thought patterns go off into a really weird place. But we do need the person that loves us, or that's trying to love us, to listen to that and to not tell us like, here's my judgment over what you just said. Here's what I think of what you just said, and here's how I'm going to fix your problem. We don't necessarily have a problem all the time when it may sound like a problem because we're concerned over things and our heart is broken over things, but a lot of times before it comes out of that loop, we have analyzed it completely and we know what to do. We just need another person to dump it on, I guess. So listen to our ramblings without casting judgment. That's the point of that whole thing, because this whole thing is a ramble. So number 5, encourage the things that bring us joy. And I have said that in the past, and not currently, but within the last few months, I'm struggle with depression and I would be really down. But there are things in my life that bring me joy. And sometimes I feel like if I participate or indulge those things, I feel like I'm being selfish, because if I'm not giving my whole heart to my family and my husband all the time and all my attention to them, I feel like I'm being selfish. So if you see that your INFJ has things that give them joy, whether it be a topic they like to research, a creative project, an art form of some kind, some certain type of exercise, gardening, blah, 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 any of those things, encourage them to continue in those things, to put themselves into those things. They're not going to be alone and do those things to get away from you. It's not because they don't love you. It's not because they don't want to spend time with you, but they need, and I need, time by myself and time with the things that give me joy. that fill me back up again, that encourage me to be a better self and a more balanced person. If I have that time to go pursue my interests and be creative and exercise my body, I am a better person. I'm more balanced. So encourage the things that bring your INFJ joy. Number 6, help with physical tasks. We say we want to do it ourselves, but we take on too much. And this may not be true for all of us, but it is true for me. I give myself this huge list of physical tasks that I need to do, keep the house clean, take care of all my farm animals, and then I'll put on these projects. And I a lot of times just take it on myself and it's too much. And I don't want to admit, maybe out of pride or maybe out of just this desire to be this self-reliant, self-sufficient person. But even if, unless they specifically tell you, like, get away, I don't want your help, try to help with the physical tasks. Nothing blesses me more than when my husband has decided to do some bit of housework, or when he snow blows the driveway and I come home and the driveway is nice and clean. I mean, I don't have to snow blow the driveway, but it's just an example. I'm just, when he helps with some physical task, I probably don't act appropriately. I usually try to remember to say thank you, but I probably don't get excited enough that he feels like I'm telling him he's doing a good job. But we take on too much, and sometimes we need some help even if we don't ask for it. So just kind of pitch in, ask, can I do this part of it for you? Can I help you with this? And unless they physically push you away and say, no, I don't want your help, just try to help. And you may have to help in silence, because a lot of times, for me, when I'm working on a project outside in the garden, whatever, I'm in my head and I don't necessarily want to have a bunch of conversation when I'm doing that, but it is nice to have someone else helping with me. So, and the last one, and this one's a little bit uncomfortable for me to talk about because it's talking about, like, physical relations. But number 7, know that physical intimacy is a gift of our heart, soul, and mind. It is a spiritual and emotional experience for us. It's not just physical. So, yeah, you kind of have to just remember that physical intimacy, it's not just about our bodies for us. I'm not terribly connected to my body, so it can be hard for me sometimes if I don't feel that, like, emotional and spiritual connection. It can be hard for me to want to even have intimacy. It's not even really. So if you have to remember that it's not just a physical act of the flesh when we engage in that. It is like a spiritual, emotional, heart and soul thing when we give our bodies to another person. And it is a, for me, like, soul tying experience. I know, when I married my husband, I believe that we became one flesh. So that when we engage in that, it is a, complete connection to him. So if it is for you only a physical thing, it's going to be really difficult to get the intimacy of your INFJ, because we need our whole heart to be involved in that, our whole soul. And that is all I'm going to say about that, because I don't ever want these things to be inappropriate. So that is my 7 ways to love your INFJ. And I hope it was helpful to you. Have a great day. Live and love out of the way you were created.